What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A Place for Humans podcast. My name is Dakota Wint, and for those of you guys watching on YouTube, I'm in my YouTube film zone. I'm not in the typical podcast zone, and that's because my little microphone that I use to record my podcast it's acting up. I don't know why, so I'm going to use my camera microphone, and I have to use this filming area because the microphone is able to be a little closer to me, so the audio will sound a little bit better. So it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since the last podcast. I've been a little, it's because the microphone's been broken, so I've been a little hesitant and a little discouraged lately. But I feel better right now. I feel like doing it. So let's do it. I don't know what to talk about today, though. Since my grandma died 2 months ago now, it's weird, It's weird how people just die, and then it's just, that's it. You don't see them anymore. Since my grandma died, I've been reconnecting with my cousins a lot, and my cousin just got married 2 days ago, and that was really a bit, actually kind of emotional to watch. I remember driving when we were all like 16, when I first got my license. He's a couple years younger. I would pick him and his girlfriend up that he just got married to. They were high school sweethearts, and I remember picking them up and driving them around. And yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see love. The whole idea of marriage is kind of it's adorable if you think about it objectively. Like, we're just these little tiny human creatures on Earth, some planet out in the universe, and look at the stuff we do. It's adorable. I mean, like, we give each other precious stones and gems, rare stones that we find around Earth. We buy them and present them to the other human that we love, and ask them to symbolically and ritualistically merge into a family with you. It's kind of like what marriage is. It's a ritual, if you think about it. And when people ask me if I like marriage, this is the point I always make. It's like, it's cute. It's so cute that the whole idea of the symbol of the father walking the daughter down the aisle and handing her over to the husband and changing the last name, and this whole ritual of becoming a family. It's really symbolic, and I think it's really powerful. We don't think about it that way, so it doesn't really have that powerful effect. But I think because I view it that way, that if I got married, it would be a kind of powerful experience, I don't know. Humans are just such funny animals if you think about, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're so funny. Such funny little creatures. So that was nice. It's nice to see them get married. I'd like to get married one day. I want to have mixed babies. I like dark-skinned girls. What can I say? You boys out here. I don't know. So that's what I want. I want beautiful little mixed babies one day, just out living in the jungle somewhere, eating fruit, enjoying life, kicking back on the beach somewhere. That's how I see my life playing out. Who knows where? Maybe Sri Lanka, maybe South Africa, or Central Africa, or maybe Peru, or Costa Rica, or maybe a trailer park outside of Detroit. Who knows? The possibilities are endless, and love has no boundaries. I don't know. Anyways, is there life on other planets? That's the real question, right? Is there life on other planets? Do you think other creatures on different planets have culture in the same way that we do, or do these kind of weird rituals like marriage? Like, if you think about it like that, like these fuzzy little, well, I guess humans aren't that fuzzy, but we're a little fuzzy. These fuzzy little creatures that recently came out of the forest, and they handing each other stones and telling each other they love each other and hugging each other and starting families. It's adorable. I hope aliens are doing that somewhere. And shout out to all the aliens that are going through heartache and stuff right now, because I know that can be tough. So I do feel for anybody out there in the universe that's struggling with anything, really. You know, it's painful being in the material universe sometimes. Hold on. How do I do this? Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I was just in Mexico, and I was at the biggest pyramid in the world. I filmed a video. It's on my YouTube channel. And who knew the biggest pyramid in Mexico, the biggest pyramid in the world was in Mexico. But it's huge. It's not as tall. I've been to the pyramids in Egypt, and it's definitely not as tall as the pyramids in Egypt. But it's so wide. It's incredible. And I don't think aliens had anything to do with building these pyramids. I definitely think humans did it. I think it's interesting that humans, for thousands and thousands of years, were just collecting stones from miles away and building these crazy megalithic, huge structures, and then all of a sudden we just stopped kind of doing that. We don't really do that stuff anymore. Because I just try, like when I visit any of these kind of pyramids, it throws me back into a thought of just like, man, what was it like to be around when this was alive, when all this was thriving? Because, like, for example, the Mayans or the Aztecs just stumbled upon the pyramids, like Teotihuacan, right? Is that how you say it? Teotihuacan, just outside of Mexico City. They don't know who made that. The Aztecs just found it. So we don't know the culture that made these pyramids. And they say that also about the Egyptian pyramids. They don't know for sure, obviously, and most archaeologists and Egyptologists would not agree with this. But there is an idea that because the Sphinx appears to be older than the pyramids, that these pyramids could also be older. And that the Egyptians just stumbled upon them. Because if I'm correct, there's actually no hieroglyphs in the pyramids. And they're still finding discoveries all the time in that area. I think they just found recently a chamber underneath the Sphinx. Some of this old art, though, does seem very alien. I was in Utah. I think it's called Barrier Canyon. You guys can Google this, or maybe I'll throw a picture in. But there's Barrier Canyon is this place in Utah where there's a bunch of old cave art. Well, it's not cave art because it's not inside of a cave, but it's a rock art, petroglyphs, and these petroglyphs are very weird. It appears, if I'm being logical, to be depicting some kind of shamanic ceremony. It's like this thing with big eyes and holding two snakes, and it looks like there's a mushroom next to it. But I mean, if you wanted to play with the idea, you could say it definitely looks like aliens, and the things that I think are mushrooms are actually unidentified flying objects. It seems very alien-y if you are a person prone to that kind of thing, to believing that kind of stuff. But a part of me doesn't think that. I think that there's probably aliens. Aliens probably do exist, but they probably exist on a different dimension. I definitely think they exist on this dimension. I mean, I think about how much life is on this planet. Like, come on, this life, the amount of life that's on this planet, we can hardly fathom or even grasp the depths of what's happening here. So to assume that aliens would come to Earth and be able to communicate with humans, and for two, want to communicate with humans. Like, for example, we know dolphins are smart, and we do a lot of communicating with them, but not in the kind of ways that people say humans had interacted with aliens. And a part of me feels like biological life can't really travel through space in long distances, because what would happen if you were traveling light years, if you completed this task of figuring out how to do this, traveled light speeds, what would that do to your biology, your biological body? Could it sustain itself? I don't know. I think that could be why we're progressing toward becoming more machine-like. Maybe this is the natural progression in evolution. The species that are supposed to leave the planet are the ones that create technology and turn into machine-like beings. A lot of people like to think that exclude us from nature. They don't think that things that humans do is nature. They don't look at it as being natural. But in the same way that an apple tree drops apples, humans apple technology. We drop technology. Ever since the invention of fire, when we learn how to make fire, or when we were creating the wheel, this camera that I'm talking to was implied. You can't have that first creation without this creation. And we've just been rolling that wheel all the way to the modern age. And slowly, but surely, dire dire, as they say in Hindi, we are becoming the technology that we consider unnatural. And of course it's not unnatural. Nature is doing it. That's what natural means. Nature. So nature is producing technology. And I think, if you look at... I like to look at ourselves as being children. And we are leaving the womb. We are supposed to leave the womb. And that's why we're causing so much issues here, is because we don't belong here anymore. This is our last moments of being on this planet. There's a little shimmy when you take off. There's a Terence McKenna quote. Let me see if I can Google it. That just reminded me of what I just said. But yeah, I don't know if biological life if it can do that. Certainly, technology can do that, because we send all kinds of stuff into space. Does the Hubble telescope, that just travels through space, right? So we know that these things are possible. Let's see. See if I can find this Terence McKenna quote. Yeah, oh my God, this is so good. Let me read this to you guys. So, this is Terence McKenna talking about the mushroom, something the mushroom told him. But, oh shit, that's not right. I posted it on Facebook a long time ago. Let me see. So, when people think of aliens coming to Earth as these humanoid creatures, I always kind of am like, I don't know if I buy it. Like, they say these Pleiadians are kind of humanoids, and I'm sure there are other humanoid creatures. Why wouldn't there be? If there's another Earth-like planet that has the same kind of circumstances in the Goldilocks zone of its star, yeah, I think it could produce life like humans in this huge universe. Why not? I mean, the fact that we exist means that it's possible. But this Terence McKenna quote, I forgot what I was even talking about and why I'm looking for it, but something I said reminded me of it. Oh yeah, we're talking about leaving the planet and merging with technology. I think I think aliens would probably be robots, or they would be some kind of maybe organic technology, like a mushroom, for example. I forgot who had this idea that mushrooms could have potentially be aliens. Panspermia. Who had that idea? Was that Francis Crick? I believe the guy Francis Crick. Well, I don't think he said it was mushrooms, but I think he said that life could have been seeded from a comet or something, some kind of space traveling being, and that could have been what seeded life. A comet smashes into Earth and it has some kind of microorganism on it, and it just thrives. and the conditions, and it turns into the variety of life. Okay, here, I found it. This is Terence McKenna talking about what the mushroom told him. The mushroom said to me once, it said, "This is what it's like when a species departs for the stars. This is not unusual. The earth quakes, the oceans boil. The planet came into existence for this." Should I put my Terence McKenna voice on? All life for over 1 billion years has pointed towards taking this step. Leaving the oceans for the land was a dress rehearsal for what will now be done. It's chilling because it's so huge. You don't even know. It's just enormous. Yet, apparently, when you look back through the history of the universe, this is how it proceeds. Incredibly, gradually, over staggering scales of time. Hold on, let me back that. Let me reread this. The mushroom said to me once, "This is what it's like when a species prepares to depart for the stars. This is not unusual. The earth quakes, the oceans boil. The planet came into existence for this. All of life for over 1 billion years has pointed towards this step. Leaving the oceans for land was a dress rehearsal for what will now be done. It's chilling because it's so huge. You don't even know. It's just enormous. Yet apparently when you look back through the history of the universe, this is how it proceeds. Incredibly, gradually, over staggering scales of time. But then every once in a while, you come around the corner and there it is. A continent sinks, an asteroid impacts, a star explodes. 2 intelligent species meet somewhere out in the cosmos. These things set ripples going on for eons." God, Terence McKenna's the man. He's the man. But yeah, to keep on highlighting the legacy of Terence McKenna, I think psychedelics are almost kind of like a portal, or like a UFO, or a gateway into kind of interdimensional contact. People desperately search around for, ghost contact, alien contact. Well, one sure way to have an experience that at least appears real, who knows, I can totally accept the idea that this experience is inside of your head. The psychedelic experience, the shamanic psychedelic experience, in which seems to produce an effect that is mystical. It seems like you're talking or communicating with another intelligence. People are kind of talking about this all over the internet lately, with DMT becoming popular and ayahuasca becoming popular. This whole idea of spirit communication is this reemergence of shamanism is having people rethink atheistic tendencies, I believe, or it did for me at least, and it did for a couple people I know in my life. It showed me that I am very enormously arrogant and ignorant to take a position that I have any clue what is actually happening in this reality, because what the mushroom has shown me is that I live through the tiniest. You know what I think of? You guys remember those light brights where you used to put a black piece of paper and then you would stick a little light or a little color pin and it would make the light shine? Think of one think of the biggest infinite bright light. Is that what they're called? You know what I'm talking about? Think of the biggest one you can possibly imagine. Now imagine one little light somewhere lost in that infinite dark ocean. That's the bit of tiny awareness that we get to see through. This tiny, narrow gun scope of awareness. Yeah, we have no idea. We have no idea. People, Terence McKenna said that if this is yourself, if this voice is yourself, that when you're talking to the mushroom, or when you're talking to the DMT or ayahuasca or salvia, or all these different plants that appear to have an intelligence lingering in the trip. This intelligence. Oh shit! I just lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? We're talking about intelligences existing in plants. Yeah, I mean, people, if you want spirit communication or alien contact, this is the place to look. This is the place well, for one, it's reproducible. That's what everyone else lacks. That's where everyone else lacks. Is that they can't reproduce it. The people that said they have been abducted by aliens and stuff like that, we just kind of have to take their word for it. But the thing with the psychedelic experience is that it's reproducible. I don't care if you believe in Jesus or you believe in, if you believe in Quetzalcoatl, the effects of the mushroom. Excuse me. God, I just felt like I got possessed there for a second by Quetzalcoatl. You will have an experience that's going to be unexplainable. Oh yeah, what I was going to say is that Terence McKenna used to say that if this experience is you, then you have no idea who you are. Then, if this experience is you, it comes on so alien that you must have no clue who you actually are, because it feels like something is coming in and stocking your shelves with fresh produce, baby. So yeah, I mean, this is the place to look if you want spirit contact. Alone, in darkness, with a high dose of some kind of potent psychedelic, it will deliver itself. I believe this is the real religion. This is the experience that inspired the sacred text. I didn't think this stuff was real, and now it seems so obviously in my face as I get older. It's like, oh man, culture has been hiding it. It's been hidden in plain sight. I've said this before, but something that one specifically that blew my mind was witches. This idea, the traditional kind of Halloweeny. The traditional Halloween symbol of a witch is, you kind of think of a witch that lives in a forest. She's brewing huge cauldrons full of plants and frogs. And then you learn that these shamans that are having these witchy-like experiences, these altered states of, these spiritual dimensions, they're coming in contact with things that most people consider fairy tale. And it could be the imagination, but, science kind of says this is all the imagination, doesn't it? Doesn't this all say that this is being produced by the brain? So I believe that argument doesn't really take the mystery away. Like I've shared my experiences online of this kind of thing, of my shamanic journeys, and my weird experiences I've had, and people just say, you're on drugs. And it's like, okay, I obviously know that I'm on drugs, but the thing is that, your whole brain is filled with drugs that are almost structurally identical to these other drugs that you're taking. The most potent natural psychedelics found in nature are almost identical to the things you have lingering inside your body already. And your body knows how to process these things, which is interesting. We have a long history of evolving with our ecosystems. So, and these things were a part of our were a part of our lives, clearly. Yeah, I don't know. But people will say, like, you're on drugs. you're tripping. Yeah, well, this whole reality is a trip. This whole reality is a mind game. And it doesn't take away the mystery by acknowledging that it's all inside of your head. In fact, it appears to add more to the mystery, if in my opinion. Something I found really funny, because I'm getting ready to go back to India in what's this, June? Oh yeah, my birthday is in 2 days, you guys. That's weird, right? Birthdays are weird. I'm about to be 13 years old in 2 days. I'm about to be 13 years old, and I'm fucking looking forward to almost being old enough to buy cigarettes. What do I got? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 5 more years, I'll be able to smoke ciggies, and my dad won't be able to tell me what the fuck to do, so suck my dick, Dad. Not actually, because that would be weird. No, but I'm about to be 27, so I'm getting old, and I don't know what that means. Birthdays are weird. It's like, they're mysterious. You're celebrating the day you fell out of a vagina. If I ever start a band, I'm gonna call it Pussy Portal, because that's real. That's what life is about. You fell out of a vagina, and you celebrate it on your birthday, and you write music about it sometimes. And that's what my band would be about, and that's what my poetry is about. And that's what I live my life for. In honor of the divine feminine. The yoni. The divine yoni. So, I'm not doing anything special for my birthday. Do I have anything planned? Nope. Nothing planned. It's actually, what's today? It's about to be tomorrow, because it's 11 o'clock at night right now. So in an hour, my birthday will be tomorrow, June 13th. I wasn't born on a Friday the 13th, but I do tell people I was sometimes, just because it sounds cool. What was I talking about? Yeah, I'm getting ready to go to India. I got some things to do. I'm going to be working. I have a lot of work to do in India, but I will be working before I go to India at Warped Tour. So I'll be in New Jersey, and I'll be in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and then San Francisco, Mountain View, just outside of San Francisco. That's where those Warped Tour shows would be. There's 2 days each show. I think they might be sold out, but if any of you guys are going, I'll be at the Stay Happy, Stay Weird tent. And yeah, that'll be cool. I think Blink-182 is headlining, so it'll be cool to get to see those guys and some other really good bands out there. And then after that, yeah, I'm heading to India to work on some really deep filming. A lot of filming. I got a lot of stuff planned, and I got some cool collabs coming. Outside of the ones I talked about already, I have Steffi Lee is going. I know some of you guys know who Steffi Lee is. If you don't, look her up. That's my sister. So I love Steffi Lee. And then we got Clara from Spirit Vehicle. All these guys are on my my subscribe recommendations on the sidebar on my YouTube. Steffi Lee, Clara. Some of you guys know Clara from some of my earlier videos. And your mate Tom. Oh man, I'm so excited to see Tom. I never got to meet Tom in real life, but we did a podcast together, and we've done a lot of talking. You know, we've been there for each other during those moments where we need someone to talk to. Because not everyone understands these psychedelic trips and what it's like to go through a crazy experience like that. So when you find these people like that in your life, you kind of stick together. So I'm really excited to see Tom, and we're gonna do a bunch of crazy stuff. We're gonna cross into Pakistan by foot. There's only one way that you can do this, because Pakistan and India don't get along too well. And even though they're right next to each other, there's only one border crossing that you can do by foot. And you actually can't even fly to Pakistan from India. You'd have to fly to like Dubai or something first, even though it's directly next door. It'd be like flying to Ohio from Michigan. So that'd be crazy to do that. I'm really excited to do that. We're going back to Milana, for those of you guys in India, or those of you guys that remember Milana from the video I made there. that's the little weed village that's in India, and that's a really interesting culture there. So I'm excited to go back there and to learn more. And I was really inspired when I went there to come back, and I only spent 1 day there. So I'm really happy to finally make my way back to that place. And that whole Parvati Valley. Any of you guys that ever go to India, Parvati Valley is my main recommendation for a kind of chill out vibe. Parvati, and then Rishikesh. I love Rishikesh. I've never been to the south, so I can't recommend Goa or any of these places that other people recommend. But Parvati is Shanti. It's beautiful. It's complete peace. And yeah, I love it. So we'll be going back there. And then I'm going to be going to the south. I'll be going to Bombay, I'll be going to Mumbai, Goa, maybe Kolkata, and I want to go check out the Ramana Maharshi ashram. So that's in Tamil Nadu somewhere is Chennai in Tamil Nadu, somewhere over in that direction. It's really I'm going all over India basically. That's the whole country almost. And I'll be training the whole way. I decided I'm not going to take any planes. I'll be taking trains and cars and scooters. And maybe if I learn to ride a motorcycle, I'll buy a motorcycle. That's my dream. My dream is to buy a Royal Enfield motorcycle and drive it across India. And I will do that one day. But I just have to learn how to ride a motorcycle first because I don't know how. But I'm excited. New Delhi is one of my favorite cities. I'm thinking about moving to Delhi one day. What's some things I could recommend in Delhi for anyone that's interested in going to Delhi? Well, you land in Delhi for the most part. I would recommend, I like John Path Market. It's a nice little cool market. I like Connaught Place, CP. That's the hangout spot. I like Paharganj, Main Bazaar. It's kind of crazy experience for anyone that's a tourist. It's got some nice shopping. Old Delhi obviously is crazy, and you get some cool shopping over that way too. Yeah, I love Delhi. I can't wait to go back there. What do I got to talk about? You know what's funny is that all over the world, people have trouble saying Dakota. My name is Dakota. People are like, I don't know, they just can't say it. Like, people in India, they just like smile and go, okay, nice to meet you. And they don't even try to say my name. But, so for the first time when I first went to India, I was just introducing people. Hi, my name is Ramdas. Because Ramdas was a big inspiration to me to go to India. So I don't know, I was just saying, my name is Ramdas. So in Kasol, there was people going, hey, Ramdas, to me, just on the street and stuff like that. And I thought that was really funny. And then I met a guru, a really good, powerful yogi. A guy that's got this crazy meditation practice and lives in the jungle. And people call him the Jungle Baba. His name is Shamsundar Das, Babaji. I talk to him all the time on the phone. He's got his own cell phone. He calls me. He doesn't really speak English. But I love him. He's one of my good friends. And he gave me the Indian name because he can't say Dakota. He used to call me Nakoti. Or sometimes he would get the D, but he usually put an N. But sometimes he would call me Dakoti or Nakoti. He gave me the name Gajanandas. And that's easier for him to say. Gajanandas. And then in Mexico, people were calling me, like I introduced myself as, hi, my name is Dakota. And someone said, Don Cobra. Like, you call people in Mexico, like the guy that said, oh, Don Cobra. He said it so nonchalantly, too, as if that's actually what I said. He's like, oh, Don Cobra. Oh. But that was Don Jose. So this old man I was hanging out with, some of you guys seen him in my videos, Jose. We all love Jose. When I first met Jose, I think it was Jose. Maybe it was Maria Sabina. Maria Sabina. Her grandson, Kima. I can't remember who it was. But, yeah, you call people Don as a kind of respectful, like Mr. or Senor. So he thought I was saying Mr. Cobra, Dakota, Don Cobra. Or someone else got it wrong and thought I was saying Paco. And then people were calling me Paquito. So, yeah, your boy is known all over the world by all different names. One time I was in India and I introduced myself to these sadhus that were just sitting by the Ganga. Mera naam Gajanandas hai. Hi, my name is Gajanandas. I said, I have some Shiva Prasad, which means I have this blessed gift from Shiva, which was some ganja oil. These people, I know for a fact they've never smoked this before. So I was like, I wanted to share it with these sadhus because I know they love smoking. And that's the medicine that they like taking to communicate with the spirits. Yeah, they get fricked up on hashish over there in India. So I knew they would like it. I gave it to them, they liked it, and I like to think that day I became a legend. And that they're still talking about me. They're still sitting by the river just like hoping I come back, staring off into the nothingness of the water, hoping, praying, crossing their fingers, skipping stones, daydreaming about me. No, they probably didn't give a shit. They're probably just happy to be stoned. But yeah, that's cool. I don't know. Oh yeah, I want to tell you guys a story. So when I was younger, I used to do a lot of Bitcoin, and I used to buy a lot of stuff on the dark net. And I bought these. I've always wanted to tell this. I bought this 2/8 of liquid psilocybin. Someone extracted the psilocybin out of mushrooms somehow and put it into a liquid form. And I took the whole eighth of this liquid psilocybin and had a complete death trip. I had an absolute death trip. Like, when I say death trip, I mean, I thought I was, not that I was having an ego death, I was having an actual death. I thought I was ODing. I remember when it first started coming on, and it felt really bizarre. It didn't feel like a normal mushroom trip, but I remember telling myself, like, I was starting to get amnesia. I started to forget what was going on, and I remember being like, you just took mushrooms, don't worry about it. And I remember being like, okay, I took mushrooms, where's the bag of mushrooms at? And I couldn't find the bag of mushrooms, but I found the empty vial of liquid that I had just chugged. And I was already kind of panicking because of the weird feeling coming on and the amnesia, and I didn't know what was going on, and I suddenly was like, holy shit, I just drank this liquid that someone sent me in the mail. This isn't mushrooms, this is probably poison that some asshole just sent me in the mail, and I paid him to send me poison, and now my body is shutting down, I'm dying. And I remember pacing back and forth in my room just being like, holy shit, like, what do I do? Do I call the hospital? And I remember like thinking, like, do I try to go wake someone up to like take me somewhere, because they're gonna have to do something. I'm gonna die if I don't figure something out quick. And I remember like staring at the photos of my family and just being like, oh my god, I'm so stupid, like, I'm so sorry, like, I can't believe I'm going out like this, guys. Like, I was seeing how hurt it was gonna be for my family to find me OD'd in my room, and I was just like crying. I was crying, and I was just like, oh my god, man, like, I'm an idiot. I can't believe I'm so stupid to take something from some random stranger on the internet. I must be like, how... I can't believe I put trust into someone, you know? And now I'm paying the ultimate price for it. And, did you guys hear that? Jeez. But... yeah, that was crazy. I remember literally going to bed. I decided not to wake no one up. I don't know why. I don't remember why. Oh yeah, and something weird that I always try to leave out of the story is that I was having these crazy confirmations that I was the son of God, which is such an embarrassing thing to say out loud. And it was like, you are the son of God. You're gonna die, but you're also the son of God, so don't worry about it. And I remember being like, I have to tell my mom that I'm gonna die, but I'm the son of God. And being like, wait, I can't say that. They're gonna just lock me up if I start saying that. But it's true in my head. That's what I was saying. I was like, fuck, but it's true. I'm gonna die, and I'm also the son of God. And I just remember going to sleep, or going to lay down in my bed and just crying myself to sleep and praying that I could wake up the next day. Basically thinking that someone was gonna come looking for me, come into my room, and find me dead. 3 days laying there all cold, maybe choked on my vomit or something. I woke up the next day and it was like the first time being alive. I was like on my knees with my hands in a prayer position, thanking God and hugging everyone, telling everyone I love them. Just like, oh my God. It was actually liquid psilocybin, or I don't know for sure because I didn't test it, but it was some kind of psychedelic. It's really potent when it's in liquid form like that. Jesus Christ, I was really out of my mind. I was pacing back and forth, and I remember going outside and looking at the sky, and it was real purple, and I was just trying to catch my breath and just trying to, like, maybe if I go outside it'll help. And it was just like, man, there ain't nothing stopping this. This thing is full force tidal wave of death colors. And yeah, I don't know why I never told that story. I always put it in my notes to tell it, but yeah, it's a crazy one. I was buying a lot of drugs back in those days off the dark net. I was actually selling drugs, and I got in trouble. This is when I was younger. I got in trouble. I live in Detroit. I don't know if that justifies anything. It doesn't actually, so I don't know why I said that. But what it does justifies what's about to happen, or what does happen. The way this event turns out will make that statement make sense in some way. So I sold drugs to an undercover cop in front of a GameStop with my friend. The cops, they got me, and they pulled their guns out and everything, ripped us out of the car. Get it, put your hands up, put your hands up. 10 cop cars around us. They all got their guns out. Shotguns, pistols, surrounding us in front of a GameStop. I'm laying face down on the ground with a cop on my back, staring at the kids in GameStop looking at me. I'm just like, fuck, it's just some weird, everything's kind of in slow motion. And they put me in this minivan, an unmarked minivan, a black minivan. And they just start interrogating me. Where'd you get it from? Blah, 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 blah. I just kept saying, I don't know. I don't answer. I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer any questions right now. I don't know. And I just basically sat quiet. They came to my house while I was in jail. This all happened within 2 hours. I was in jail. They raided my house at the same time I was in jail. And I'm just a kid, so they raided my parents' house. Find nothing, because I'm not like a big-time drug dealer. I was selling everything I had. You know, I was just trying to make money. I was a stupid kid, you know, and it was irresponsible for sure. But I was making a shitload of money for being that young, and people, there was a demand for it. So, yeah, I don't know. It was irresponsible, and I would never recommend that as a career path. So I went to jail. I sat in this jail cell for a few hours by myself, freezing, middle of winter. There's no blanket, no nothing. It's cold. And my friend's in a different room. We can't talk to each other. I remember he always tells this story, is that when we were getting pulled away from each other, I was doing this. I was saying, shh. And he always tells that story whenever he tells his side. And how badass he said I was for doing that. But it's just like, man, don't say nothing. You know, don't talk to cops. And I wanted him to know that I also wasn't saying nothing so that he wouldn't get in trouble. But I respect police, you know, on a lot of levels. I disrespect police. I find a lot of things police do are also disrespectful. But on the most part, I recognize that it's a hard job, and I recognize the kind of situations that they put themselves in, and how those situations can, how it just turns into this, how it goes bad sometimes. So I don't want to pretend like I live that kind of life and put myself in those positions for other people, you know, like serving people. And I know a lot of cops are corrupt. It's not a black and white situation. But so the cop comes and gets me, and he says, "Come on, let's go." Walking me down this long hallway. They open the back door. It's like those doors that you push, like an emergency exit door. And it's in the middle of winter. It's probably midnight, 1 in the morning. And he says, go. And I'm just like, what do you mean go? They didn't take my fingerprints. They didn't do anything. I didn't sign nothing. And he's just telling me to go. They took all my money I had in my pockets. They took my cell phone. They took everything, so I didn't have nothing. And I never got none of it back. But I waited. I stood outside. I started walking, and as soon as the door shut, I just took off running because I didn't want them to shoot me or something and say that I tried to escape. So as soon as the door shut, I just took off running. I went to a gas station and called my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I fucked up. I know you didn't know that your son was a pimp daddy boss, but yeah, I'm a little Pablo. Now you know. Now you know the situation. This whole time, you've had a young Pablo." So I'm basically just freaking out for the next week, thinking that everyone's watching me, like the cops are watching me and stuff, and following me. But then days go by, nothing happens. About 6 months later, I get something in the mail saying I have a request to go to court. I go to court. There's a black kid that's in front of me. Like, his case is going on in front of me. I'm waiting in line for my case to be next. He got caught with weed. He got pulled over with weed. And they fucked him. I remember they were yelling at him. And they were like, they took his license away and stuff. And I just remember, what I did was a lot worse than what he did. He just got pulled over. And I was like, man, if they're treating him like that, over that, who knows what's about to happen to me. So I get up there, and I get community service. And the reason I mentioned that he was black is because he got screwed over, and I didn't. I don't know if he had any prior records or what his situation was like, but that was the first time I was like, damn, like if I was black, they would have just locked me up, which is a fucked up thing to admit. But also in Detroit, I mean, regardless if you're black or white, people that with drug crimes usually don't get in trouble because there's too much violent crime in Detroit. The prisons are overfilled, jails are crowded, so usually nonviolent crime, regardless if you're black and white, you don't really get in too much trouble. But I do think if I was black, I would have gotten more trouble than I did get into. I got in probation for a year and a half, 2 years. I think it was 2 years probation, but I did a year and a half of it, and I had to do 3 months of community service, and the community service was 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. So this was like a straight up job. And they had me cleaning the side of the roads for a while, for the first couple weeks. And then they put me to the morgue. I know some of you guys remember my morgue video, and me working in the morgue. Well, that's when I worked in the morgue for 2 months. It was because I was forced to. And I didn't have a job at the time, so I just went every day. I could go once a week. I had to at least go once a week, but I could do it however I wanted, you know? Like I could go every day or I could go once a week. And I decided to just bust out as much as I could and go 5 days a week. So I was basically literally working at the morgue for free. They had me taking out the trash. They had me basically just cleaning up, doing janitor stuff, washing the windows, cleaning the bathrooms, this kind of stuff. And it was really easy, actually. I'd watch TV most of the day and eat. You know, I'd walk down to Subway. This is in the Wayne County morgue, so this is in Detroit, where I got to see all kinds of crazy stuff. Literally all kinds of crazy stuff. Because think about all the crazy stuff that happens in Detroit. I was the first one to see that. I'd come in and sign in every day, and right next to my sign-in sheet was the deaths, all the deaths of people that were there that day. And I would go into the autopsy room. I was friends with the people that would do the autopsies, and I was friends with everyone there. And they would just be listening to like Kanye West. It'd be like, and I ain't saying she's a gold digger. And then they'd just be doing an autopsy on someone's body. And they just take their gloves off after they're doing their autopsy and eat like chips or something. You know, they just take a bite of their lunch, which I always thought was a little weird. One thing that fricked me up a little bit was I saw a little boy that was dead there. That was the thing that fucked me up the most about working there. It wasn't scary. People always ask me if it was scary. I didn't feel ghosts or anything like that. Something that was gross, though, is that there are some unclaimed bodies. They can't just throw these bodies away, so there's unclaimed bodies that are just sitting in these freezers. And they told me that after so long, your body just kind of starts secreting fluids, and that if you pick the bag up with the body, there's just a bit of sludge and kind of mushy flesh that just kind of lingering in the bottom of the bag, kind of like I don't know, if you put a bunch of beans and meat inside of a sock and like stepped on it with ketchup and stuff, and yeah, I don't know, it's just gross. I always thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. What else can I talk about? And then I got pulled over in San Francisco with mushrooms. I got caught with an eighth of mushrooms. Not even, now it's basically legal in Oakland, right? So I got screwed. But yeah, I got in big trouble for having this eighth of mushrooms, man. They fucked me for it. Gave me big fines. Made me do rehab. I had to go to rehab for mushrooms. Who goes to rehab for mushrooms? You know how stupid I am? Hi, my name is Dakota. I'm here because of mushrooms. That's like a slap in the face to everyone that's there. But I actually found that it was really beautiful. And actually that, regardless if you have addiction issues, that having a community of people, being around a community of people that are actually working on themselves and actually, it's spiritual work. Rehab is spiritual work. So you're around a group of people that are doing deep healing work on themselves, and that's a powerful thing to be around. When I was doing rehab, I had to split it, actually. I had to do I had to do a month of rehab, 30 days of rehab, and you could do it again like a couple times a week, or you could do it once a week. I was doing it a couple times a week just to bust it out. But in the middle of it, I had to go on Warped Tour, and I had to work for the whole summer, so I couldn't do it. So I had to split it up and come back after I was gone. So for 2 months, I was gone, and I came back, and some of the people had graduated, and some of the people were still there. And the people that were still there had progressed so much in 2 months, and it was so beautiful to see, I had so much of my own healing done just watching these people go through their struggles and overcome it and accomplish it. And these are the deep, hard struggles. Like, a lot of us don't know what it's like to be addicted to heroin, or to be addicted to crack, or to have such shitty families that you're getting prostituted out by your families and stuff like that. Like, these are some of the stories I heard from the people I was sharing my rehab with. People would tell their stories because that's a way. A big part of the process of healing is community and surrender and being honest. So a lot of people were brutally honest about their lives, and every day, every class was emotional. And I actually recommend people sitting in on a rehab class, even if you don't need it. It's truly that's the church. It feels more spiritual than a church to me, being in there. Yeah, that's where God is hanging out at. I think we did about an hour of this podcast. I'm sorry that the microphone quality is slowly getting worse as the podcast goes on instead of better. I'm trying to get better stuff. Yeah, and I'm sorry that there's been a delay in the podcast. This microphone issue is like I said, it kind of discouraged me a little bit, and I've been waiting for nothing, you know, because I know I can't afford the microphone right now, a new one. So we'll just have to deal with this quality for now. It can't be that bad. This podcast was brought to you by Stay Happy, Stay Weird, and you can use code aplaceforhumans for 10% off. Place for Humans, or Stay Happy, Stay Weird, has cool t-shirts. I think you'll like some of them. They've got Ohm. They've got Kalima shirts. They've got it all, baby. And I designed some of those shirts, so head over there and support that company. And yeah, make sure to follow me on Instagram too if you'd like, so you can see my India adventures. Peace out, you guys. This has been another episode, and episode 15 actually, of A Place for Humans. We've got 15 episodes. I can't wait till I'm saying we got 100, 200, 300, 5. Can you imagine if we get to 500 episodes? Fuck. Anyways, all right. See you guys.